All right, looks like we are going live here. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and get my video set up. Okay, let's see. All right, perfect. So we've got a couple things going on here. Right now, I've got the video being live. I've also got a replay video that I'm recording that I can get a replay sent out to you guys as well with the slides. So let me go ahead and start the slideshow. Perfect. Let me get this going. Awesome. All right, so welcome everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on the live today. We've got a lot of really awesome stuff to cover, but more importantly, we're going to talk about finding motivated sellers. I get questions all the time from new investors that are looking to get started, and they want to know how to find motivated sellers. This seems to be pretty much the number one thing that most new investors struggle with, and that's finding consistent motivated seller leads. And today we're going to go through a lot of stuff. I'm going to share with you how you can do it on a budget, how to find leads consistently, and exactly what you need to do. We've got so much really cool stuff to cover. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to create this video is because there's just a lot of misinformation out there. So many new investors get told to do the wrong marketing strategies. They're told to use the wrong types of lists. A lot of people focus on talking to people that just really aren't that motivated. So what I want to do today is really share some practical things with you that you can use to find motivated sellers on a budget. So first of all, before we get started, I want to make sure that this information gets out to as many people as we possibly can. So make sure that if you guys are watching this live or if you're watching the replay, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you guys like this post. That way it gets out to more people. I also want to make sure that for those of you that are following along right now, just drop me a comment below. Let me know that you guys can hear me okay and that you're able to access the video and stuff like that. Now we're going to go ahead and jump in. And really what I want to start with is the biggest struggle for new investors is finding motivated sellers. But why is this the biggest struggle? You know, it should be simple, right? It's not like there's any secrets in this business. We have to find motivated sellers. So why are so many people struggling? Well, there's a lot of reasons why people are struggling. One of the big reasons is because there's so much bad information out there on what you should be doing to find people that are motivated. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that it's very easy to find people who want to sell their home, okay? There's people that post their properties on Zillow. There's people that post their properties on the MLS. Those are all people that want to sell. There's a ton of people out there that if you call them, you know, and they say, hey, are you interested in selling, or you say, hey, are you interested in selling your home? There's gonna be a lot of people that say, yes, I'm interested in selling my home if the price is right. But those are not motivated people. So many people get caught up in reaching out to sellers that just aren't motivated. And that's a huge struggle. There's so many reasons why, you know, people fail in this business. We don't want to continue to add more reasons in there. So one thing you have to keep in mind is that when it comes to finding someone that we want to work with, we can't work with people who are willing to sell or people that even want to sell their home. As wholesalers, we have to find people who need to sell their property. So need is in all capital letters because that is the most important thing, is we have to find people that just don't have any other options and that they need to sell. So some of the reasons why so many new investors struggle in the first starting out is because so many gurus and other people are going to teach you to look on Zillow, look for sale by owner properties, go out and drive for dollars, go out and, you know, hang bandit signs, go out and maybe target really broad generic lists like absentee owners and stuff like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these today. Let me make sure. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about why some of these aren't necessarily the best strategies. So for those of you guys that are listening and following along, drop a comment below if you guys are doing any of those marketing strategies and not seeing the results you're looking for. So let me know what you guys have tried for marketing, what's worked, what's not working. That way we can kind of get a feel for kind of who we're talking to and some of the things that we're going to do today. So why do I not recommend Zillow and for sale by owner? So can you find deals this way? Yes. There are chances that if you've reached out to 1,000 people that have their properties listed on Zillow or 1,000 for sale by owners, that you may find someone that is a good fit. Okay. But we don't want to have to weed through all those people. We want to try to narrow our chances down to find the people that are the most motivated. So yes, you can find someone on Zillow that's a for sale by owner that's willing to sell at a discount, but it's literally a needle in a haystack. Okay. So driving for dollars. Why don't I recommend driving for dollars? Well, again, most people tell you to look for dilapidated, problem properties. Well, look, those problem properties don't become problem properties overnight. It takes years and years and years for properties to get to that level. Can you find good deals driving for dollars? Yes. But if it was that big of a burden for someone, they would have sold that property a long time ago. So keep in mind, when you're driving for dollars, the likelihood that you're going to find someone that says, oh my God, I've got to get rid of this property today is pretty slim, because look, those properties have been like that forever. They're dilapidated. It's not that big of a burden on the people. All right, let's talk about bandit signs. So when it comes to bandit signs, can you do deals from bandit signs? Absolutely. But look, what we want to do is find better sources. The reason why I say bandit signs aren't necessarily a strategy that I would use is because a lot of the people that you reach out to are just going to be people that are willing to sell if you're going to make them a good offer on the property. And that's not what we do as wholesalers. Big, broad lists. Again, yes, you can absolutely do a ton of deals from big, broad, generic lists. But if you're starting out and you have a limited budget, we need to laser focus in on the people that are going to be most likely to need to sell. So if we're starting with a big list, that means it's going to be way more expensive because we have to reach out to more people. So we need to find much more smaller, more targeted lists. All right. And that's really the thing, is that most people overlook the most crucial part of marketing as a wholesaler, and that is targeting sellers that are actually motivated. So many people get caught up in talking to people who have no motivation. Now, the issue with that is if we're talking to lots of people on a daily basis that aren't motivated, that means that we are using our resources and our time to talk to people that are not going to sell. So what you're doing is, let's say you talk to 100 people a week. Now, if you're just talking to people that aren't motivated, you may not see very many leads. But if we're talking to 100 people a week that are motivated, we might get 5, 10, 15 leads from that. And that's what we need to do. And what we need to focus on as real estate investors is targeting people that have very high levels of motivation. So drop a comment below if you guys are following along. Target people that have high levels of motivation, drop that in the comments, because again, we need to understand that our thinking needs to change when we're doing our marketing. We can talk to a bunch of people, but that's not the best use of your time. We need to talk to the right people, target motivated sellers, people that have very high levels of motivation, okay? So when I talk about marketing, I like to break it down into 2 sections. The very first section is what we call primary marketing strategies. And these are going to be things that we should be doing and focusing on a daily level, okay? Something we should be doing every single day, all right? Secondary marketing strategies are things that can be done when we have extra time, but they shouldn't take away from you actually doing primary marketing strategies, okay? So what is a primary marketing strategy? Well, these are things that we know are going to be consistent marketing strategies, scalable marketing strategies, and things that we know that if we do them, we're going to be able to get a consistent result. So for example, anything we can put $1 in and get a minimum of $2 out. That is what we consider a primary marketing strategy, okay? Secondary marketing strategies are marketing strategies that you really can't calculate, okay? Things that you don't necessarily have control over the outcome. Things like networking, driving for dollars, bandit signs. We can't say that, hey, if we talk to this many people, we're going to see this many leads. Or if we drive for dollars for 4 hours, we'll get this many leads, and that's going to lead to this many offers we can make, and that's going to lead to this many deals. Whereas with primary marketing strategies, things like texting, cold calling, direct mail, inbound marketing strategies like pay-per-click, those are all things that we know that if we do a certain amount of, we're going to see a certain amount of results. That's calculated. And those are the types of things that we need to look at. Is primary marketing strategies are far more important than secondary marketing strategies. So if you're getting wrapped up in finding the wrong kind of people, so targeting people that aren't really that motivated, and then you're also focusing on secondary marketing strategies, the likelihood of you doing deals is very slim. We need to focus on primary marketing strategies. So if you guys are following along, drop a comment below, put in primary marketing strategies, all right? Drop a comment, let me know that you guys are following along. So the next thing is, why do so many gurus and so many people that are educating you about wholesaling, why do they teach secondary marketing strategies to new investors? So this is probably the single biggest myth that I see that so many new investors get wrapped up in. One of the biggest reasons why you are failing to do deals as a new investor. And that is gurus, speakers, trainers, educators are teaching you to do and focus on secondary marketing strategies, okay? The reason why, they're simple, easy to teach, easy for you to say, okay, all you have to do is jump in your car, spend 15 to 20 minutes going out driving for dollars, write down any addresses of people that look like a dilapidated building, or get a bunch of bandit signs, write this little note down, go hang up 10 or 15 of them a week, or go out to all these different places and drop a business card and start networking. Those strategies are easy to teach, easy for you to understand as a new investor, but there's a very low likelihood that you're going to see any results from that. And that is one of the biggest reasons that most new investors fail. I would say 99% of the reasons why new investors fail is because of marketing. If you're in this business and you tried for a year, you tried for 6 months, you tried for 5 years, and you've done all these things, but you're not seeing results, the biggest reason why you're not seeing those results is more than likely bad marketing strategies, or you're not talking to enough people. 9 times out of 10, everything is going to come back to marketing. And that's the reason why you're not being able to see results as a new investor. Typically, showing you how to start with these secondary marketing strategies is really going to be one of the reasons why they're setting you up for failure. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work. There's a lot of people that say, hey, I got started driving for dollars, or hey, I got started with bandit signs. Yes, you can do deals from those marketing strategies. But what you need to understand is that it's almost kind of like winning the lottery. It's almost like a lottery system, because you're just kind of doing those things, hoping that you're going to see a return with no control over those strategies. And that's the thing that you need to understand with secondary marketing strategies. You have no control over those. So that's why we talk about primary marketing strategies. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that most people don't teach you about primary marketing strategies because you tell them that you have a limited budget, or if they're trying to market to people that have a limited budget and say, hey, you can get started in wholesaling without putting any money out of pocket. That's not really the case. So a lot of times they're going to steer clear of teaching you marketing strategies that are actually going to work for you, primary marketing strategies, because they're trying to allow you to get started with a limited budget, but that's actually holding you back as a new investor. So let's talk about how you can actually use primary marketing strategies that are actually going to work for you, even if you have a limited marketing budget. So drop a comment below. Let me know primary marketing strategies. Let me know what you guys have tried. Okay. Inbound and outbound strategies we're going to cover. We're going to talk about cold calling, texting. We're going to talk about direct mail. We're going to talk about inbound strategies. So let me know in the comments primary marketing strategies. All right. So here's the thing. Again, when it comes to you as a new investor, even though you're looking to get started and have a limited budget, you still need to focus on marketing strategies that are going to get you good results. And that is really what we want to focus on, is things that we know that you're going to see a consistent results from. So that's where we talk about primary marketing strategies. And primary marketing strategies are broken up into 2 categories, typically inbound and outbound. So what an inbound lead is that's where leads come to you. So you're putting something out there, whether it's maybe like a pay-per-click ad or a billboard or radio advertising or television advertising. You have your phone number out there and people are coming directly to you. Those are typically going to be some of the more expensive primary marketing strategies. That's where a lot of the people that are looking to kind of scale and grow their business, that are doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 deals a month, those are the types of strategies that they're using. Okay. But for new investors, when you're first getting started and you want to use primary marketing strategies, we can use what's called outbound marketing. So that is what we're going to cover today, is outbound marketing strategies that you can use on a limited budget. So go ahead and drop that comment below, say outbound marketing strategies. So that's going to be things like texting, cold calling, direct mail. And the reason why these strategies are so important is because we're building lists of people that fit our criteria, looking at based on who's motivated. So breaking it down based on motivation, and then we reach out directly to them. All right. So inbound leads, like we just talked about, these are going to be more expensive, but typically better leads, the best kinds of leads in reality, things like pay-per-click, radio, television, billboards. These are going to be the most motivated people, and they're raising their hand and reaching out to you and saying, hey, look, I know that I need to sell my home. What can you do for me? These are great leads because typically they're on autopilot. It, again, is something that's consistent, something that's scalable. I know that for every dollar I put in, I'm going to get a certain amount of return back. And that's really, really important with inbound leads. Outbound leads are going to be things like texting, cold calling, and direct mail. These are all great strategies that work, but each of them have a specific time and place. For example, texting is going to be one of the lowest cost, highest return marketing strategies we can do. But it also is one of the lower level, as far as motivation goes. You get a lot of replies, but people aren't necessarily as motivated. Cold calling, you're going to get a much lower return. Sometimes they can be a better lead. Direct mail typically are pretty good leads, but the reply rate is so low. So it's so much more expensive. So we have to use those things and look at those things to kind of determine what marketing strategies should we choose. So a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure you want to know the same thing. They don't want to sit and watch this 30-minute video. They just want me to tell them, what is the best outbound marketing strategy? So that's the question that I'm sure is on your mind. And I'll tell you right now, it's the wrong question to be asking, okay? So many people get into this business to think, I just need to know the cut and dry answer. What's the best marketing strategy? I can't tell you what the best marketing strategy is. And if someone tells you that they can, they're lying to you. There's too much more information that I would need to know about your business, especially your budget. How much time can you commit to the business? There's so many things that I need to consider to be able to tell you what is the best marketing strategy for you. And this is the reason why I prefer to do coaching. So I don't sell a lot of courses. I do have my Wholesaling Made Simple ebook, which I do teach a lot of different strategies in there. But if I'm working with someone to get them the best results, the reason why I do coaching is because I can look at all the different reasons of why I would recommend specific strategies versus just telling you, hey, this is the best marketing strategy that works best for everybody, okay? So again, the concept of one of these marketing strategies being better than another is completely false. You can do deals from every marketing strategy out there. However, what you have to consider is that there's going to be big differences in each, especially cost and time that goes into it. Each of these marketing strategies that we talk about all have their time and their place. So let's start with texting. Texting is going to be the cheapest marketing strategy out there. And the reason why it's the cheapest marketing strategy out there is because it doesn't take a lot of time, okay? You can send out 100 texts within a matter of seconds. So that doesn't cost you a lot. If you're outsourcing that, you're not spending a lot of money to outsource that. Or if you're doing it, you're not spending a lot of time to do that. It's also one of the highest rates of return. So what we look at from a marketing strategy is if we send 1,000 texts out, what is our response rate? What is our rate of return? So typically with texting, if it's done right, we get about an 85% delivery rate. So if we send 1,000 texts out, 850 of those are going to get delivered. And we're typically going to get about a 25 to 30% response rate. So for out of 1,000 texts, we can see 250 to 350 replies that come back to us. So for the amount that it costs us to send those text messages out, that's going to be the highest rate of return. So therefore, texting is going to be the lowest cost marketing strategy out there, okay? But you're also going to get a ton of people that reply that are not interested, take me off your list. So it's not to say that you're getting 250 to 350 leads, it's just that you're getting the highest rate of return. So that is something that we need to consider. So when I look at marketing as an overall plan. So for you as an investor, you need to be doing the same thing. So make sure you drop a comment below. Overall marketing plan. That's what we need to think about and what we need to consider. So when we look at a list of 1,000 people, what we want to do is we want to text that list first, because that's going to give us our highest rate of return, our most marketing responses. So if we get 250 to 350 people to respond, then we know those are people that either want to sell or don't want to sell. If they don't want to sell, we can take them off our list and move on to the next thing. Whereas if we were to cold call a list first, we may only get a 3 to 5% response rate. So we would waste so much more time, so much more money reaching out to that big list of people through cold calling. So it's silly if you're building a list and cold calling that as the first line of defense. that's dumb, because you're getting such a low response rate. It's taking you so much more time, and it's costing you so much more money to do so, because you're hiring someone to do it, or it's spending your time to do it, and you're only getting a small response rate. Now, cold calling is a great marketing strategy, but not as the first marketing campaign that we reach out to people on, because again, with texting, it's so much cheaper. We're going to get such a better response rate. So I would say that texting is our first line of defense, whereas cold calling is going to be typically more moderately priced versus direct mail. Direct mail is going to be the most expensive, as you'll see here in a little bit. But with cold calling, we're going to get a better response than we would if we were just doing direct mail. So that's what we need to consider, is that, look, when it comes to building these marketing strategies, cold calling is going to be our second line of defense. If we text somebody, we get 25 to 30% of our list to reply. The next line of defense would be to do a follow-up text, get more of those people. And then from all the people that we couldn't reach via text, now it's time to cold call, because maybe they were landlines, maybe they were people that just weren't willing to respond to a text, or maybe they're older people that don't do texting. So cold calling would be our second line of defense. So if we're looking at this as basically an overall marketing strategy, cold calling is our second line of defense. So drop that as a comment below. Let me know you guys are following along. Cold calling is your second line of defense. All right, so cold calling, again, is more expensive. You're typically either going to take the time to cold call, maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. That's a lot of time that you could be doing other things. Or if you outsource, you're hiring someone for 5, 10, 15 bucks an hour every single day to cold call. So that's a big expense. Plus, you're skip tracing the entire list of people, so you have expense there. And you're only getting a 3 to 5% response rate, or 3 to 5% of the people that you call are actually going to answer. You're going to be able to talk to them. So that's a much lower response rate than what you would get through texting. So that's why we say cold calling is our second line of defense. We use that whenever we can't reach people via text. Now, the third line of defense when it comes to outbound marketing strategies would be direct mail. Okay. So when it comes to direct mail, it's by far the most expensive. So, it's the most expensive to do, because you have to, actually pay postage. You have to create that. You have to send it out to them and stuff like that. Plus, the response rate is super low. So if we get a hold of 25 to 35% when we text, 3 to 5% whenever we cold call, with direct mail, we would only get about 0.5%. So if we were to use direct mail as our first line of defense, we would send out 1,000 postcards or 1,000 letters. 0.5% or less would reply. It's just silly to think that direct mail is going to be the best marketing strategy that you should use. Or if you're spending your marketing dollars just on direct mail, you're just lighting that money on fire, because again, with direct mail, it is so expensive. Now, it's a great strategy. You're going to get a ton of deals from it, but you need to use it as the third line of defense in your overall marketing plan. So texting first, get a hold of the most people, the people that you can't get a hold of, text again. From there, then we cold call those people, get a hold of those people. From there, cold call them again, once or twice more. From there, all the people that we can't get a hold of, those are the only people that we send direct mail to. So we started out with a list of 1,000 people. Now we're down to a list of maybe just a couple hundred people that we couldn't get a hold of. So then we would send direct mail out to those people. And that's going to be our third line of defense when it comes to sending out our marketing campaigns. So that is the biggest thing that you need to understand, is choosing the right marketing strategies for your budget. So primary marketing strategy versus secondary marketing strategies. If you're just focused on secondary marketing strategies, you're not going to see any deals. Now, again, if we focus on primary marketing strategies, make sure that you're choosing the right strategies for your budget. If you have a very limited budget, you cannot be doing inbound marketing strategies. We need to be doing outbound. Then again, if you're doing outbound marketing strategies on a limited budget, but you're choosing the wrong strategy and you're using the wrong overall marketing campaign, you're not going to see the results. Because again, if you have a small budget and you're doing it all on direct mail, you're going to see such limited results that it's just not going to work. So the second thing is, you need to make sure that you're making those adjustments and setting this up. So that is the reason why I say that having a right marketing plan, an overall marketing plan for your budget, is going to be the single most important thing that you can do for your business. Okay. So now let's move on and talk about using outbound marketing strategies on a limited budget. So if you have a limited budget, what we want to do is that we need to make sure that you're focusing on smaller more targeted lists of people. So again, we can't be successful if we're targeting large generic lists, like an absentee owner list or like a vacant property list or something along those lines. It's a really big list in our area, because what happens is we're going to burn through our budget too quick, and those people aren't going to be motivated enough. So what do? First thing we need to do is focus on more targeted lists. So the first thing that we need to do is build a list based on the highest motivation level. So to do that, we're going to build out what's called a stacked list. Okay. So a lot of times you're going to build a list of people that is going to be here. Let me move this. That way you guys can see the full slide. So most people would build a large untargeted list of like absentee owners, vacant properties. We're going to focus more on compound or stacked lists. And what that means is that people have 2 or more levels of motivation. So let's say, for example, the property's vacant. Would they be motivated to sell? Maybe, maybe not. Well, what if we know that it's also in pre-foreclosure? That's 2 levels of motivation. That means that person is going to be much more motivated. So a compound list that we need to focus on is start with bigger, more untargeted lists that aren't going to be necessarily as motivated. Stack that with another list. So if someone tells you to do an absentee owner list and you're trying to do your first deal, and that's what they recommend to you, that is the worst advice that somebody can give you, because that's a big untargeted list of people that aren't really all that motivated. Maybe they would sell if they got the right amount, but again, that's not what we're looking for. So we want to start with a list like that and then add 2 or 3 levels of motivation to that to get a much more smaller, more targeted list. And that's what we would want to do, is build a much more targeted compound list. Once we have that smaller list, then from there, we need to skip trace that list. And we want to make sure we're doing a high quality skip tracer. We want to use something like Smarter Contact. Some people use PropStream. Some people use Skip Genie. There's a lot of things out there that you can use. But once we build our compound list, the next thing we want to do is skip trace that list. And then third, we want to reach out to those sellers. So that's going to be the next step. Based on your marketing budget, texting is going to be your best strategy to reach out to them if you have a really limited budget. But again, we want to text them first, text them again as a follow-up, then move to cold calling, then move to direct mail. So that's going to give us our highest rate of return is going to be texting. But it's important to make sure that we're using all of the different marketing strategies that we know as far as outbound to be able to put those leads together. Let me see what the next slide is here. All right. So that's going to be the thing that we need to consider as real estate investors, is that we're building the right list based on motivation. So it's so important to build compound lists or stacked lists. So another example, again, vacant and pre-foreclosure, or vacant and tax delinquent, or tax delinquent and pre-foreclosure. That's going to give you people that have multiple levels of motivation. From there, use a high quality skip tracer, reach out to them via text, cold call them second, do direct mail third. That's going to be the quickest and easiest way for you to find motivated sellers on a limited budget. So for those of you guys that followed along, make sure you guys like this post and we can get it out to more people. And also drop a comment below if this opened your eyes up to the right kinds of marketing on a limited budget. If you're doing secondary marketing versus primary, you're going to struggle. If you're using, inbound marketing strategies on a limited budget, you're going to struggle. If you're using basic generic lists and doing outbound to them on a limited budget, you're going to struggle. So it's key that we have to make sure that we're doing all those things to where we can set ourselves up for success. Build small, ultra targeted lists with multiple levels of motivation. Make sure we're choosing the right ways to market to them based on what your marketing budget is. And that's how you're going to be able to put deals together on a limited budget and see results. So if you guys like that, drop a comment below. Let me know that makes sense. And for those of you that are looking for more help, drop a comment below. Help. That's all you need to put in there. And what I'll do is I'll reach out to you and try to see if there's some ways that maybe I can help you out, whether it is sending you some information on my ebook that maps out some of the marketing strategies in a lot more detail, or if you want to work one-on-one directly with me to get help where I can actually set your business up let me know. Just drop a comment, help below. I'll reach out to you via Facebook Messenger just to see if there's some ways that we can work together and I can help you out. So if you're looking for any help, looking to kind of take that business to the next level, just drop that comment below. I'll reach out to you and talk about some ways that we can kind of work together. I do work with students. Typically, it's a 6-month-long mentorship. You're working directly with me where I set the business up, help you build and scale your wholesaling business to do 2 to 3, 4 or 5, 10 deals a month, whatever you want. We can build out a game plan to do that. So just drop a comment below, help if you're looking for more help. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really look forward to helping you guys out more and talk to you soon.